Hi, and thank you for tuning in to the Daily Dose for Spiritual Growth. It is Fasting Friday. We take this day to give up something, typically food for the day, for a meal. Maybe you're giving up something else today, something that you would typically do, or maybe that you even feel you need. And in place of that, you're using that hunger, that longing, that time to spend with the Lord, to say, you know what, I'm going to set something aside today, and in place of it, I'm going to focus on the things of God, seeking His face, expecting to hear Him speak. And that is what we have been talking about all week. This dual concept of hearing God's voice and
obeying. What do we do with it when we hear God's voice?
Yeah, I think often we talk about what is God speaking to you? You know, is God speaking to you? And we don't as often say, how are you, how am I, how are we responding when He does?
Yeah.
Because we know God is speaking.
Absolutely.
It says in His Word,
Yep.
His Word is the tangible voice of God that we can read through these pages because it's living and active and God breathes.
That's right.
But God also speaks in many other ways. He speaks through believers.
I shared on Sunday that God speaks to me through nature and through music. I love music.
Yeah.
And God has spoken to me several times in the worship service.
Yeah.
Or just, I have earphones and I'm just kind of personally worshiping, and God is speaking and depositing things into me as I'm listening to worship music.
And I know a couple months ago, we spent a whole week in our daily doses talking about the many ways that God speaks. But today we want to focus more on how do we respond?
Yeah.
How do we react? Are we obedient when He speaks? So let's talk about this. This is in 1 Peter chapter 1, starting in verse 13. It says, therefore prepare your minds for action. Be self-controlled. Set your hope fully on the grace to be given you when Jesus Christ is revealed. Now listen to verse 14. As obedient children, we are children of God.
Yeah.
It's saying, as obedient children, do not conform to the evil desires you had when you lived in ignorance prior to a relationship with Jesus. But just as He who called you is holy, so be holy in all you do.
You know, our world and our culture and just our sinful nature, we are attracted to things that just gratify ourselves.
Self-gratification.
And that's what Peter is saying.
It's our natural tendency,
yeah.
right?
And he's saying, you know, you didn't know any better prior to knowing Jesus.
What should sinners do? Sin.
They should sin.
That's what they do.
That's right.
They don't know the truth.
That's right.
But as
now,
believers,
that's right. But now he's saying that you know better. And out of this obedience, it's not just to make sure that you don't sin and you don't have any more fun or anything like that. He's saying that we are obedient out of our love towards Him.
It's like our children, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're training, our children are very young. So we're training them. We have a lot of rules, a lot of boundaries. But as they get older, our hope is that they aren't obedient so that they don't get punished. They're not obedient just to like make sure mom and dad are okay with them, but they're obedient out of a love and a care for us and out of a recognition that we know what's best as they've seen the evidence in their life that those boundaries, those rules, those standards have protected them, have helped them, have guided them. How much greater is God?
That's
you know,
right.
as we grow in relationship with Him.
Yeah.
My heart of obedience to the Father and to the commands that He has given me is growing to be much more out of a place of love versus a place of duty.
Yeah.
Out of it's a sacrifice. I have to. No, I get to do what God says.
But we live in a world and we're not perfect.
Yeah.
And so we still have these tendencies to go back that are more just self-gratifying.
Yeah, attitudes, actions.
So as you fast today, as you go to Him, ask God, is there areas in my life, are there attitudes, are there actions, or are there things that I watch that are causing me to go in a direction that is leading towards self-gratification rather than obedience and love to the Father?
Challenging stuff. Reveal to me, Father.
Yeah.
What are those areas where I am going back to the things that I did prior to knowing you personally?
And when God reveals those things, let's act on it.
Let's be obedient.
Read that first verse. I love that first part.
Therefore, and let this be our prayer today. Therefore, let's just put God in there. Therefore, God, prepare my mind for action.
That's right.
Help me to be self-controlled.
Oh. Amen.
Think about that today.
Amen.
Pray about that today. We're praying with you.
That's right.
We're praying that God speaks to you as you fast. You know, thank you so much for tuning in today. We hope to see you again tomorrow for another daily dose
for spiritual growth.